Hey guys, Chomsky here. Just wanted to talk about uh, basically the turtles. Just geared them up and all that fun stuff. Yeah, uh, you know, kind of went crazy in the summon stuff, but I got them. So that's cool. And I don't want to necessarily go for April, but I do think that this is ridiculously powerful. But again, that's fine. Just seeing her rating in game here, and seems middle of the pack, so whatever. It's neat to have, but definitely not necessary. So, anyways, the whole purpose of this is to talk about uh, the first builds I have with with the turtles, and the first one is Michelangelo. We all got him in that login stuff. So I don't know how I feel. Um, I feel like with the synergies with all four, that we could definitely skimp out on speed, uh, basically because they all join up in their attacks. So as long as one is attacking, we could definitely kind of lower down our speed thresholds just a little bit. So this is how I have mine. Uh, my Michelangelo is okay. 215 speed, decent attack. I would love to get him more. He's crit capped, decent crit damage, like almost 300. He's at 390 accuracy, the and I have him with a Talon, just to do more damage, and then just the multi hits here. Just because the A1 is going to be the primary one uh, when he's joining in on attacks. So I think he's okay. I haven't really taken him out too much. This does need to get upgraded just for a little bit more crit damage, and he's not fully mastered yet, so that's okay. Does a decent amount of damage, and I'm gonna take him to Hydra later on. Like once they're all, like I'm just waiting for champ training. Really, that's it. There's no need for me to insta book or insta max anybody. I'm just gonna hold on and I'm gonna play the game, and I'm waiting for those events, even a CVC, just to go a little bit nutty. Got Donnie. Uh, this Donatello fusion didn't seem nearly as bad as others, so I was a little bit surprised. The first version I have with them is really the only one, and I have him in a supersonic set. Um, he's not fully out there yet, but I it's just basically getting the speed and some sustainability. He just needs a lot more defense and a lot more HP. But really, I just want to go for the speed. I want him going fast because um, this again with the A1, I'm eyeballing 280 to like 300 speed on on these turtles. Really, just this way they can really crank out their attacks. Again, his A1 is healing, and he is the source of healing for a majority of these attacks. So having continuous heal out there is pretty sweet. So we want the A3, and then he has this decreased cooldown, so that's only going to benefit everybody. And he's joining in on attacks, so that's really really good. Because he's healing all allies by 5% of this champion's max HP. So I really want to crank out that HP. Um, and then I have him with the journal. Just this way, we get that additional little bump. So it's only 15%, but it's also the turn meter. And we have that with the A3 by 20%. Again, it may not seem like much, but it's still something. It's gonna help. So I'm starting the whole. I'm taking them in minnow, wasting my energy that way, but uh, just doing that up. So I have them in supersonic. Looking at a 9-piece here. Um, Really, just this way, we could get more turn meter. Uh, my accessories aren't the greatest, so I definitely need to be doing more Curse City and crossing my fingers. But it's okay. Taking it off Fady is not going to be the worst. Taking it off Shayak, yee, okay. You know, I think I'm okay there. But yeah, thinking about Supersonic with him, and since we have free gear removal, like I could just do that um, pretty easy. And again, my Supersonic stuff may not be the greatest, but that's fine. Um, you know, and accuracy, that's a wasted main stat, but that's the best I got. Um, again, looking at speed with him just because I want him to cycle through. Um, so I mean, maybe like I do want to increase as much HP as I can, but not looking too promising there. So looking at 10 speed and looking pretty good. Next up is Leo. Leo's tough. As I was building him up, this needs to get bumped up. Ignoring defense, which is great, especially with Michelangelo out there busting out um, the decreased defense, potentially a stun, you know, putting out their decreased attack and leech. Chances are there are going to be that stuff. So I would most definitely be doing the A3 first with him and then hop into Leo. Um, just this way he could do a little bit more damage here. 6% target defense gone. So not bad. Um, he does have the multi hit there. So on the A1, which is nice when he joins in on attacks. So I was debating about whether or not to change this triangle, but I think it's okay. So I have him built out as a protection set. I don't like it. I have decent speed. He's gonna get more crit rate and more crit damage once I get him mastered. But um, taking it off a Laz isn't a big deal. Taking off a Quan, the Dwan Caller, I think he's New Yorkan, all right, is okay. Farol, that's fine too. So I'm not missing out on that much, and it's not again not the greatest, but it's definitely my first build on him. I don't have that many defense stuff on protection, so that's where it kind of sucks for me. Like I could take it off Shuzen, which is fine. You know, I I'm okay with this. Um, and the reason why I'm leaning into protection is just for the unkillable and counterattack, and then the stone skin. So I want to protect that as much as I can, and then uh, just to get more damage out of my out of my dudes would be awesome because he's putting out there an increased defense and an ally protect. So that's two, and then an unkillable and counterattack. So that's four. And then a potential fifth with Stone Skin. That's a lot, and he's not mastered yet. But just to get all those is pretty sweet. So it definitely makes up for the lower end of my stats, but I definitely want to bump up the HP as well as defense. The counter argument is that you don't want to necessarily bump up the HP so much because you want that stone skin to come out, and it's once per skill, which is absolutely ridiculous. So there is potential that you could just out you could continuously outrun that stone skin, and I just want to protect it just in those times when I can't outkick him. He's at 253. Ideally, I would like to have him at 300, but that's the goal for everybody. And right now, it's Donnie in the lead. Um, really, just I want to crank them out as much as I can. Like ideally, if I had one at 400, that'd be sweet. But I don't want to. I don't see the replayability of all four of these in a team in dungeons or anything like that just yet. So I don't want to take away my best gear and put them on these guys just to have. I'm not there, but that's fine. We have Raphael, and I have him in a merciless set. I was going to call it something else, but that's not the case. Him, I wasn't really so focused on speed. Uh, I have him in attack boots just because of the crit rate. I was messing around with speed here, and eventually during CVC or anything like that, I'll most definitely uh, do these potions. And for those that are not aware, I got a dog, and Szmata is here. Just wanted to make her presence known, and she is adorable and wanting to say hi. So say hi. Yeah, she's still counter surfing, so she likes to take any and all food off the counter, and we're trying to teach her not to do that. So, uh, yeah, she is an adorable standard poodle with this small fluffy hair that is just, it's like a rag, it's like a mop. But anyways, going back to what we were talking about, I have him in merciless and he's not fast. I do want to crank up his crit damage and his attack. And again, like the only one I'm missing out on is this chest piece. I don't want to take it off the dog, but I'm gonna just to test it out. It's not even the greatest, just because all it is just crit rate and speed. Like defense sustainability is fine, but not really awesome. But I do want the 9 piece just because I want that extra turn. If I'm not able to do that, I'll toss that in the 4 piece set. Uh, but we'll see. I really want that extra turn. Getting extra crit damage and speed is nice, as well as that ignore defense. So getting 6 and above is just awesome. Here, uh, again, just don't know why that didn't go through. Um, but I really don't have a good merciless ring, you know. So I'm left with a bad main stat piece, and it's just sustainability, but it gets me closer. Then I have resistance. That may work, but really I just want that speed. So that's most likely going to be the play. I also have him in a cat's gaze just for that increased crit damage and attack. He's doing multi hits, so I'm okay with that. You know, he's the AOE as well as the A3, so I'm okay with this one. Um, getting more damage, and these do stack apparently. And then just for when Donnie goes, um, as well as Leo, right? As long as Donatello's going and increasing turn meter, we get a little bit more of a bump up. So I dig it, So I do want to get him crit capped, which he's almost there. He's not mastered, so he will be. And then we can really start cranking out crit damage. But him going slow and in the back, I want him attacking last. This way we could potentially get this block revive. But yeah, I mean, this is how I have them. It's my first build with them, with all of these guys. Um, haven't really taken them out. They're still tadpoles, uh, you know, but really waiting for champ training to really bump these guys up and get those points, and not really wanting to waste those, because that's really these are free points, man. Get I think that's really something that a lot of people, you know, really don't do in in RAID, and that's really being patient. So utilize them as much as we can and do that up. And you can also see I'm working on four others here too. Just and I'll bust those out eventually. But yeah, like that's what I have. So please let me know what you guys think. Looking forward to reading any and all feedback. So thanks, guys. Uh, you can find me on Twitch, Noma My Chomsky on Twitch. Drop me a hop on in and see the ramblings live. you know. But until then, take care. Have a nice Tuesday.